Where should we go? Marjorie Taylor Greene asked me to kick off the America First rally tour. The Villages, I said.
They're less than 35 minutes from my house. And it's full of old people who will cheer when you just mention Trump's name. It requires no effort whatsoever. Hold on, I'll turn it down, sorry.
Thank you all so much. I cannot tell you how much this means to me to have you.
Great, then don't. Bye. That's always one of my pet peeve phrases. I can't tell you how great this is to be, great it is to be here. Then don't.
Here supporting Marjorie and I'm a marked man in
I'm a Marge man.
Congress.
Yeah, no you're not. You're not a marked man in Congress. You're a marked man in Seminole County.
A canceled man in some corners of the internet. I might be a wanted man.
Well, on Tinder maybe.
Man by the deep state, but I am a...
The deep state? You mean the DOJ and the state of Florida?
Florida man, and it is good to be home.
Now would be a good time to remind everybody to go check out my video, Florida Man. Oh my God. Templeton, thank you. We need more smashes and more likes, she says. Templeton, thank you so much. What a welcome back gift. Thank you very much. Yeah, give us a thumbs up, like, and subscribe. This is so... Dude, what? What?
You're the lucky ones. You got in. There are more than 1,000 people outside that wanted to be here.
But they can't because they have syphilis, and there's still rules in Florida.
And I think 2 of them might have been Antifa. There is not a strong Antifa chapter in the Villages.
There's not a... There's a strong catheter chapter in the Villages. I want to stab him with a salami.
I don't think any of the people on the Republican side running
Thank you, Jay.
for
Thank you again,
president in
Templeton. That's
2024 could draw a crowd this big if their name wasn't Donald Trump.
see, because we're the next generation. Trump is the thing. We're gonna set ourselves up in 2024, and we're the next Trump. I'm Trump meets Trump. It's the same thing. Where was it on my notes? Say you're the next Trump. Infer that no one can get crowds like this except you. And then brag to crowds. Start with joke is crossed out.
And so today, we send a strong message to the weak establishment in both parties. America First isn't going away. We're going on tour.
And by on tour, I mean 45 minutes from my house. And a 1-hour flight from Marjorie's. I'm guessing you're not going back to Wyoming.
Here in Florida and across this great country.
Mainly in Florida, though. More of these.
We love America so much, and we will not wave the flag of surrender in the face of the Democrats, the socialists, the deep state, or the establishment. America is too precious, we love her too much, and we will never stop fighting for her.
Yeah, but for the record, that does not preclude me from taking a plea deal. I'm just saying, that's it. Can there be an asterisk next to that statement? Who's writing this shit down?
This is our first stop at the...
Seriously, could anyone be more Bob Roberts than this asshole?
There will be many more, and America's greatest president and the undisputed leader of the Republican Party, Donald J. Trump, might join us on a few.
Yes, please.
Or we might join him.
Oh yeah, you're gonna go all the way from the Villages to Mar-a-Lago? This tour's off. You're never gonna see your family again, but largely because you're gonna be arrested. Where is your fiance?
We have never abandoned Trump, and he has never abandoned America. He is still fighting for us. He will
No, he isn't. He's microblogging.
continue to fight for us, and we're going to have his back when he does.
Well, I would lift from the knees.
The way forward is not a
No.
repackaged, regurgitated version of Paul Ryan's Better Way.
Boo, other Republicans. This part I'm totally for, by the way.
And it's certainly not the Green New Deal and the socialist way. Our way, America
You mean the fantasy you have about normal democratic taxation principles?
first will rule the day.
Dude, Google Robbie Rotten. Do I dare, Raphael? Do I dare? Are you saying to me, or are you saying that to him? Hold on. I have to see. Hold on. This might be awful. Oh, as a character? Robbie Rotten? Oh. This is what you're saying. Like, this is the real Matt Gaetz. Yipes. Oh, is that what the guy really looks like? I would exaggerate my features a little better so I could walk around freely. That's pretty close. He's dabbing. Oh, God. What is that? Now I gotta dive into that later. Thanks a lot. Criminy. Oh, we'll get to you in a second. It's pretty dead on.
Isn't it obvious? It's our ideas. It's our patriotism and
What ideas are those? What are they?
positive populism that fills
Positive populism. Patriotism and positive populism. Is that what the PPP loans stood for that Marge got to save her business that she would have voted against?
the rallies from the prairies of Wyoming to the villages of Florida.
You're not going back to Wyoming, boy.
On immigration and trade, we will stand with America's workers, not the socialist billionaires or the corporate woke-topians.
The corporate woke-topians. And by the way, just for the record, I am here for all the Republicans turning on corporations. You hate to see it. But I mean, I'm enjoying it. And I really have to say, it's a toss-up whether I like him attacking other Republicans more than I like seeing him attack, like, mega donors and big billionaires. Like, that's amazing to me. I don't think, if you're younger than a lot of us that are in the chat and watch this show regularly, the fact that this asshole is stomping on those two groups of people it would have been impossible 10 years ago, 5 years ago.
We will oppose the forever wars that send America's bravest patriots to faraway lands for
Biden's the one bringing them home, dummy.
unknowable gain. And we will stand with American families against the genderless, blue-haired woke-topians of the Chaz.
The Chaz was an anarchist gathering. They're not Democrats. Those people don't vote at all. They
tried to make part of Seattle an autonomous zone. Then they
Right, which is not something you would do as a Democrat who wants voting.
took over the Democratic Party, and they actually made the Democratic Party their autonomous zone. We will make sure that America is an autonomous zone for freedom and
Oh my God, was that belabored? Holy shit.
liberty and success and prosperity, and we will not apologize for it 1 minute.
Well, the Chaz, I mean, they were liberty and prosperity and success. They were looking to, have their own space to create their own businesses, even if it was, selling beads and coffee or whatever the future held. But they were looking for liberty. They wanted to set their own rules. They didn't want any cops in there. I mean, they basically wanted the same thing as you. This dude, under no other circumstances, depending on the dress code, would have been quite happy in the Chaz or the Chop. Both, by the way, for the record, run by and completely populated with assholes. Just in case you're wondering if us liberals all, see eye to eye on that kind of stuff, or suddenly just automatically assume that's how you behave. Those are anarchists. They're anti-democratic. No one voted for them. They took over public spaces that are not theirs. They burned down private businesses. They attacked cops. And in the case of the Seattle Chaz, they murdered 2 black teenagers. So, for the record, fuck them. And along with them, the right-wing version, which is all the sovereign citizens assholes who elected Rand Paul and who are a big batch of the folks that are in the audience today at that thing.
To my friend, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, we know Georgia needs you. There's a lot going on in Georgia, but you should consider Florida your second home. You would make a great Florida woman.
Yeah, she would. Yeah, that's true. I could totally see her gacked out on meth, hockey stick sticking out of her ass, fighting a cop with a tennis racket while screaming, "That man stole my ferret." That is absolutely true. Please, no one make that into a cartoon.
You know why they go after Marjorie the way they do. She is an unbossed.
Yes, Dora and Greenwald are both hacks owned by the Russian mob. Yes. Fuck both of them. Jimmy Dore literally has 3 dudes that he's wound up into being cop killers. And Greenwald just hates anything that relates to the United States regardless.
Congresswoman.
So fucked up.
Unbossed, unbought, unbowed. That is the mantra of America First.
Unbossed? You represent the people. You are a representative. Unbossed. Your constituents, both the ones who voted for you and the ones who didn't, are your boss. Unbossed.
We will not cave. We will not cave to the foreign interests abroad or the special interests here at home.
Oh, you mean Ivanka's trademarks or the gun lobby?
We will put our people first, and we will not make exception for that.
What do you mean by our people? Define our people, Mr. Representative in Congress.
And so, if you believe that America
I believe the children are our future.
America is a wonderful country, not an intractably racist country.
Yeah, I believe it's a wonderful country and not an intractably racist country. I think it has elements of racism in the system that we should work to remove because the overall structure is one that can benefit everyone, but if it's allowed to be kept in the hands of people like yourself, it will never achieve that. Oh my God, Diamander, thank you so much. Thank you for destroying Dingling Man Gaetz on a daily basis. It is glorious. Thank you, Diamander. Well, on your behalf, there will be more to come because this asshole is now out in public again. Bless you. Thank you so much for that. It's almost like the super chats are making up for my missing days. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. And my ability to pay my healthcare premium also thanks you.
If you believe that MAGA is patriotic, not deplorable, if you stand...
How is it patriotic? First of all, it denigrates all the Americans that have been working to make America great and in their own way on both sides of the aisle for a very long time. It just acts as if they don't exist. And then it also points to a time that was less inclusive as the primary direction of American greatness. I mean, all MAGA did was shit on Reagan, shit on all Republicans up to this point, obviously shit on Democrats. Which part? Define when. What's your standard for when it was great?
for the flag and kneel in
Thank you,
prayer.
Bill.
If you want to build America up and not tear her down, then welcome, my fellow patriots. This is the movement for you. You belong with us to help our country to be prosperous and patriotic and unafraid.
Thank you, Jay. How? What are you talking about? What are you talking about, dummy? I mean, you're better at the rah-rah than Marge, but everyone is. Thank you, Susan.
And so this tour, all from the hills of the villages to the flatlands of Mar-a-Lago, all the way to parts of Texas, so Ted Cruz can speak. This tour is an invitation to our fellow
To the FBI to track my phone across other state lines.
patriots to join a positive populist movement.
Okay, so where's the positive populism? Where is it? Thank you, Amy.
And we need our fellow patriots to join us because it is no longer just the red team against the blue team
No, absolutely not. The red team is the real enemy. Please go on about that.
in politics. It's the establishment against the rest of us. And you know,
Holy shit. When did these assholes start sounding like Bernie bros? Remember when we were all talking about how while there were absolutely some Bernie fans that were online acting like assholes and putting snakes in their snake emojis in their stuff and attacking Elizabeth Warren, there were also a bunch of other Republicans like boosting that bullshit and acting like they were supporting just to drive a wedge in the Republican Party. And the main rallying cry was, it's the establishment, man. We gotta stop the establishment. We're anti-establishment. What kind of hippie bullshit does he think he's spouting here? You are the establishment. And by the way, we need an establishment. We establish these truths to be self-evident. The Constitution is an establishing document. The establishment. Christ almighty.
you know what? There's more of us than there are of them.
No, there aren't. You're short about 7 million.
They know it. That's why they're so afraid.
We're not afraid.
That's why they hope that this movement dies, but we will never let her die because we will never let America die.
We're not going to let America die either, dummy. And we're also not going to let it be its government, which holds it together, be drowned in a bathtub. These assholes running against our own government when they work in it. Christ almighty.
From the deep state in government to the deep fakes in media, they try to defame.
The deep fakes in media. Oh, you mean the Hunter Biden pictures?
Deplatform, and destroy that which they cannot control. And
They defame, deploy, what? And distract what?
platform and destroy.
What was the first one, though?
From the deep state in government to the deep fakes in media, they try to defame, deplatform, and destroy.
So it's just a lot of deliteration. I appreciate that, and it's Democrats, obviously, so that helps tie it all together.
That which they cannot control.
Thank you, Electric
And
Songs.
they could not control Trump, and they could not
Every
control
little bit helps, you guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I really, really do.
me, and they certainly can't control Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Sure they can. They took her off her committees. She has the rights to do certain things within Congress like every other one does, but she's limited by that very thing. I mean, granted, she can... I guess there's always that option to give tours to insurrectionists the day before they try to murder some cops. That sounds pretty out of control. Thank you, Deborah.
Big government, big media, big tech, they would all breathe a sigh of relief if Marjorie Taylor Greene and I were no longer in the Congress fight.
Dude, if they're big, they don't even notice you. Neither one of these assholes has done anything that would make the government smaller, break up big tech if that's what they're shooting for, nor would they actually want to. And it certainly couldn't. It's not something they could do without violating their own principles as a party. Twitter and Facebook don't give a rat's ass about Marjorie Taylor Greene and Matt Gaetz. The only upside is that she's got a sex scandal and you've got a sex scandal, which really helps with clicks.
Waiting for you. They lie about us because we tell the truth about them, and we are not going to stop.
Stop what? Sexting teenagers?
And we are not powerless in this fight. We are.
Yeah, you are. It's pretty obvious. You're in a conference room in front of 4 flags trying to look important. This is the Anglo-Saxon thing has fallen apart, so they fell back on this.
A powerful movement. You are powerful people. As President Trump reminds us, we are the elite now.
Uh-huh. That's why we serve fast food to Olympic champions.
And so let our beautiful, cherished Constitution be our guide.
Yeah, especially we establish these things, establishment being the primary focus of oh shit.
We have a right to speak
Thanks,
freely
Gloria.
and to assemble, and we better use
Love
it.
you being here.
The terms of service on Twitter should never be more important than the values that undergird the First Amendment of our Constitution.
They're not. Twitter is a private company. You guys actually believe corporations are people. As a people, it has the same rights as individuals.
And we need more than just a legalistic definition of the First Amendment. We need a culture of free speech in America. Can you?
Agreed. I mean, I'm limited in what I can say about Matt Gaetz on here and, in a way that won't get me demonetized. I certainly have more truth to say about him, but I can, I have the capability of narrowing my vocabulary to the necessary boundaries that I find myself in, like someone at a dinner party. I've been invited. I can check my overreach. If my language gets too saucy, I might be asked to leave. So I feel the room, I see what's okay, and I stay within those boundaries like a normal human being.
Do you believe the Facebook Oversight Board took President Trump off of their platform? What does
Yes, I can. Yeah, along with a bunch of other QAnon accounts.
that say? They're afraid of the truth.
They're afraid of the truth that they're really only in it for the money. Yeah, they kick them off so that they can hide the fact that they can do other things that are sketchy. You're on the receiving end of their corporate decision. You don't like it.
YouTube. Thank goodness YouTube does not define the truth or falsity related to the coronavirus. I think they do, but we shouldn't let them. YouTube would have banned Galileo if they had the chance.
No, they more than likely they would have banned the church at the time that said you should kill Galileo for questioning the for establishing the heliocentric system.
But the internet hall monitors out in Silicon Valley, they can't cancel this rally or
Yeah, they don't care.
this movement or this tour or this congressman.
They don't have to. That's what the DOJ is for. Parler also gave them the truth. Yeah.
We have a right.
Wait, what? Hold on. Run that back. Who said... Who's that what? Marjorie Taylor Greene is related to Laura Ingraham? Yipes. By marriage?
To bear arms in this country, and we better use it.
Dude, you don't have a gun on you right now? Nobody in that room does. As a matter of fact, nobody in that room was allowed to bring a gun in there. Why don't you have open carry at your events, Matt? If you really believe in America first and this is a movement for patriots, why is everyone there not allowed to bring the biggest gun they can? Bring all their guns. They can't? Why is that? Why is no one open carrying at Matt Gaetz's events?
The Second Amendment is not about hunting. It is not about sports shooting. The Second Amendment is about maintaining within the citizenry the...
Oh, and yeah. We do need another break from Matt Gaetz. Hold on one second. Yeah, this one's a little shyer. Aw, Peaches. Hi, Peaches. How are you? This is Peaches. Hello, Peaches. Hello, darling. How are you? Are you asleep? Are you asleep? She's nearly invisible because of the yellow coloring in her coat. Makes her see-through on my green screen. Hi. Hi, Peaches. She's a lover. She's very sweet. She's really sweet. She'll fall asleep on you. Hello, darling. Hello. Her name is Peaches because she's got a peach-colored stripe on her nose. You sure do. You sure do. Look at this little one. You wanna explore? Is that what's happening? No. You can look up there, and I'm gonna hang on to you. Hold on. Nope. You can't go that way. Sorry. Oh, what's going on? Oh, what's going on? Hello. Yeah. Look at this little one. Look, hi. Where you going? Oh. Do you want to go back upstairs and sleep? Is that what's happening? Yeah. And she passes out. Look at this little one. Such a sweetie. Yeah, I gotta give her back. She's gonna fall asleep.
She always looks like that. She looks like she's high.
Yeah, she looks baked. I know you're such a sweetie. Here you go. And go to mama. Okay, see you later, cutie. Okay. Oh. Hi. Meow. Bye. Bye, Peaches. So nice. It's when I'm in the room, ever since I was a kid, I've always made I've been able to make kitten noises. Hold on, I have to do it right. And it sounds like a couple of cats. And they're always like, where is it? There are other kittens in here. Yeah, it's super sweet. Dude, can we not have had cats my entire life? I'm 52. Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. I didn't want to... yes, I'm the whole litter. It's true. So they're all really sweet. These are really cute little ones. Hold on a second. I need to open this up real quick. Hold on. No. Why is where is it? There it is. Let's open up Stream Deck. What you doing? Move this over here. Why'd you do that? What's happening? There we go. And then it goes back. Yay, now my buttons work. Such a weird thing. America thirst. All right.
Ability to maintain an armed rebellion against a tyrannical government if necessary.
Yeah, guys, the Second Amendment is there so you can kill cops and soldiers that work for your own government if you disagree with it. Not a tyrannical government from overseas that's coming here. Fuck that. That's for poor people who join the army.
And you know what? People may not like that. That might not be politically correct, but that is the truth. And oftentimes...
Well, then why is it well regulated? If you're fighting your own government, why are they well regulated? That's letting the government know you have guns. If the whole purpose was to fight the tyrannical government that's your own government, why would you tell them? Which is, by the way, why they don't want registrations. It's not. It's so that, in theory, if the British attacked again, or the French, or somebody else, or the Mexican government, or any number of countries in Asia decided ships to land on the West Coast, you could fight them on behalf of your country as part of the militia to protect the Constitution, not to just blow away cops who knock on your door because you're selling sawed-off shotguns and meth to fund your Trump flag habit.
Sometimes the truth is politically incorrect. We have a right to be free of unreasonable search and seizure, and
so if we want to shoot a cop with our AR-15 because they have a warrant for our phone,
we better protect it.
It's a little telling that that's what he dropped, don't you think?
For anyone who thinks that the deep state doesn't exist, if you have any of those friends that say, if you think the deep...
Oh, I don't have any friends that believe that. I believe that. The deep state doesn't exist. You're full of shit. This is made up. You do this to excuse the fact that you're inept, you can't do your job, and you can't accomplish anything, and also to always claim magical victimhood. It's sort of like the idea of Christianity, like the devil made me do it, or the devil's always out there trying to cut me down.
Deep state exists, you're a conspiracy theorist.
No, you're just a dumbass.
Just look at what we've seen.
What have you seen? That you, a sitting congressman, are under investigation for and indicted on, apparently, I don't know if it's come yet. Have we seen the actual indictment yet? That they're working on? They've got a grand jury convened for child sex trafficking, and you still have your job.
An FBI lawyer changed evidence before...
Oh my God. To make it harder to get a FISA warrant against Carter Page.
For a secret court to have the opportunity to surveil someone that they thought was close to President Trump so that they could exact their politics through the FBI.
Yeah, their politics are support and defend the Constitution from all enemies, foreign and domestic. And again, I don't know how many times I have to say this. Fuck Carter Page.
Former FBI disgraced...
Carter Page is a crook. He's a courier. No, there are no emails tying him to Russian collusion because nobody would be dumb enough to email Carter Page anything. He's a moron.
Director Jim Comey admitted under Congress that he leaked information for the purpose of getting a political investigation going.
Because the DOJ head, William Barr, released a summary of his findings that were untrue.
The former
of the Mueller report.
Director of National Intelligence, James Clapper, came before Congress and said, there is not mass collection of American data for surveillance. Turns out there was mass collection of American data.
No, there wasn't. There was not. They weren't collecting it. They scan for stuff after 9/11. Anytime there's a terrorist event, they scan across everybody. But they don't keep it. They look for stuff like chatter about whatever happened, and then they follow that. And they have the right to do that under the Patriot Act. But they don't just store everybody's phone info for random thought every time something goes down. They don't do it. They don't collect it. They don't keep it. They filter some of it. It's our goddamn government. Post 9/11, people wanted changes. That's the changes that came. Again, Carter Page is an asshole, and so is Edward Snowden. There, I said it.
For surveillance. Look at what they did to General Michael Flynn, a patriot. For
a patriot, he was working on behalf of the Turkish government as a unregistered foreign agent. The Turkish government that had Erdogan had his own people beat up American citizens on our soil, and Trump did nothing about it.
Our country. Michael Flynn was going to reorganize.
You want to know how I feel the way I feel about Edward Snowden, in case anybody's wondering, or even Julian Assange for that matter? Is because Chelsea Manning and Reality Winner fessed up, admitted to what they did, and served their time. These other two assholes got a magic ticket out of town.
The intelligence community and say that we had to stop
Reality Winner and Chelsea Manning are heroes.
just focusing on Russia, and we needed to rise to the challenge to confront China.
They aren't the People's Party. They are not storing data. They are not.
And they prosecute.
And they only store data that's related to the actual investigation if they find out somebody's involved in it. They don't store everything else. There's no point to it.
Prosecuted him for it.
Do you have any idea how much storage that would require and why?
The deep
And they don't need it. They can always get it again. There's no need to store it. It's
state
good
is
Lord.
real. It is in places you wouldn't even think.
Yeah, it's in the villages. It's in Mar-a-Lago. It's in
Deep state is even at the post office.
the deep state is at the post office.
The United States Postal Service has an internet covert operations program. The post office.
Yeah, you know why? Because drug traffickers mail fentanyl through the post office. Because bombs and anthrax have gone through the post office. Of course they do.
You know what? Deliver my mail on time and on budget before you spy on the social media proclivities and activities of our fellow Americans.
Yeah, besides, your staff opens your mail, so if there's white powder in it that's poisonous, they'll get it, not you.
I am proud to tell you that Marjorie Taylor Greene and I have introduced legislation to abolish the deep state internet covert operations program at the post office.
Yeah, it's about time that fentanyl salespeople and child sex traffickers and child pornographers and snuff film salesmen can get their packages through and are no longer tracked to make sure that they stop them before they actually, you know, a damaging item like a bomb or poison or a bioweapon don't get through. God damn.
We have a right to confront our accusers.
Yeah, unless they're minors or they're victims and they can have somebody speak on their behalf. Look at this asshole going through like the court stuff.
In this country. How about that? There can be no...
How much child porn is mailed? Zip drives are regularly mailed with stuff on them and intercepted constantly. Not all of it is download based, and a lot of the people who buy it, especially internationally, buy it and it's mailed on little hard drives. And they track who's mailing the stuff out through Interpol and other stuff and go, hey, by the way, this package, if it's got a hard drive in it, can you do it? Can you run a scan on it? They're in contact with those people. They coordinate, and that's how they bust folks that way. I mean, why is anyone surprised? Yes, they still use,
due process here if the only process due to conservatives is to see leaks embroidered onto lies, then just endlessly repeated by the America Last media.
The America Last media? Asshole, these are your cameras. What are you pointing at?
I hope you guys show the 1,000 people outside that wanted to be in here to hear this
Oh my God, now he's just cribbing straight from Trump.
message. But there are sometimes exceptional journalists who turn the cameras onto the liars. And in that vein, let me
But enough about Chris Wallace.
say thank God for Project Veritas.
Thank God for Project Veritas. Yeah, okay. And which one are we going with? The CNN dude who went, yeah, if it bleeds, it leads.
It's not often you get an admission on video. But a CNN director on video said the reason they were repeating these lies and propagandizing my life is because I'm effective. Because I stand in the way of an agenda that will hurt my fellow Americans.
I must have missed that one. I just saw the dude talking about how CNN, or he was basically saying if it bleeds, it leads with coronavirus, and it's interesting to watch, but it's not sad, so they skip other stories and push that to the front. Plus, it's nationwide. It's the difference between cable news and local news and that kind of stuff. Did he really say Matt's effective?
They will not silence me. We will not back down, and the truth will prevail.
They won't silence you. No, you'll silence you when you plead the fifth.
CNN is just the worst. I already know. So today is my birthday.
Oh boy. Are you legal yet? Birthdays are very important.
And I already know how CNN's going to report it.
Matt Gaetz got a year older, and his victim is still 17.
Has wild parties surrounded by beautiful women in the villages. So just get ready for it.
No one's partying with you anymore, Matt.
Marjorie Taylor Greene and I work in Washington, but we are not of Washington. And I must honestly tell
Nobody is. DC doesn't even have representation.
you that
I
the
guess they have House people.
leaders of both parties in Washington, D.C. don't work for America First. They work for permanent Washington. Washington
Yes, yeah, America needs a capital. They work for permanent Washington?
PACs fund their campaigns. Washington lobbyists broker their power. Their place in Washington drives every decision.
Dude, your dad is a politician. He leveraged his position in Florida politics to sell his nonprofit healthcare company for a huge profit. That's the money that he was going to loan on your behalf to get you out of hot water.
Decision they make all throughout the day. And unfortunately, the wants and needs of the people often suffer. You know, the swamp is not just dangerous because it holds unruly creatures. There's a muck that sucks you in, drags you down, limits your escape. Marjorie and I are not
That quicksand.
powerful by typical measurements in Washington.
You mean not at all?
She's lost her committees. I may lose mine.
Oh, you're going to lose more than that, bruh.
But we have a power that they can never take away. And it
Yeah, we have lunatics following us who think that no matter how many children we fuck, or how many lies we tell, or how much time we waste while emergencies are going on, gathering people for useless votes when they've already been on record because they file all of their paperwork after the yays and the nays because the votes have already been whipped. No matter that, we've still got a yard full of old people who will wave hats.
is tied to our connection to the people in this great country. You know who the fighters are. You can distinguish the phonies and the fakes from the real deal. And President Trump gave us the opportunity to see who is fighting for us clearly. And
Yes, Joe Biden. He helped him get elected by being completely inept during the biggest emergency to hit the country since World War II, and we've been watching the simple competency looking like fucking magic.
decisively, America First means actually leaving Washington and going out into America.
Yeah, every congressperson leaves, and they spend a good deal of time outside Washington in their own constituencies.
Part of being populist is showing that you are popular.
What? Then why are you at the villages in Florida?
Maybe our leadership should give that a try. If Liz Cheney could even
Wait a minute, you can't tell me that Nancy Pelosi was dancing in the streets of Chinatown in San Francisco trying to keep people from blaming American Chinese people for the virus that came from the Wuhan laboratory. That you can't say that she's a swamp creature if you're also going to call out the time she's been in and amongst the people. But almost every critique they have about anybody. Maxine Waters. Maxine Waters was not only in her own district saying what she went out into other districts. She tours the country. That's what she was doing. That's the same thing they're doing.
Find
Jesus.
Wyoming
Ignore who? I didn't.
on a map and went there, she would find a lot of very angry cowboys who are not happy with the fact that she's sort of for every war. War in Syria, for it. War against Trump and his supporters, for it. War.
Yeah, that's the same thing. You know, we use Moabs in Syria. We use Moabs to denigrate deplorables.
Against the Republican conference, war against her own voters. Well, it appears that enough of my colleagues on the Republican side have seen things our way, the way that we kind of laid out 3-4 months ago. And it appears that Liz Cheney may no longer be the chair of the Republican conference. This might be the first war she's ever sought to end.
By the way, I usually don't interrupt those moments because, again, Republicans attacking the Cheneys, like, I mean, what's not to like?
You know, the neoconservative war on the world might have been more tolerable if it...
The neoconservative war on the world. Jesus Christ, where's that paperwork?
wasn't also
Is that a project for the New American Century, like a PNAC document we all missed?
a war on the pocketbooks of so many Americans. Like, during the Obama, Bush, Cheney eras of interventionism,
Yeah, that's I blend all those together.
our
Sure.
gas prices were just through the roof. And during
Yeah, we were in a war in the Middle East.
the Trump era of peace and prosperity
And mass death and everyone staying home and not using gas, the price went down.
recognition for Israel and not
Supply side economics always has to deal with that nutty thing called demand, which went in the shitter in April of last year.
starting new wars. Actually, gas got a lot less expensive. So now, with a
Yeah, it got, why was, because no one was driving anywhere.
peace dividend, we have fewer of our bravest, most patriotic Americans coming home without arms
Yeah, and there's going to be even fewer because Biden's getting them out by September 11th. What do you know?
and legs, and gas doesn't cost an arm and a leg in the Trump era. But you see now it's going up because
Because people are driving again and the companies are, because it's not the government doesn't set the gas price. And as demand goes up and processing has been slowed because people were sitting on oil that wasn't being turned into gasoline because processing plants were shut down. One of the agreements Trump made was to not produce gas out of oil.
of the bad decisions made by Joe Biden. We must put our citizens first. And speaking of citizens and citizenship,
Hey, how about that national voter ID that every American citizen gets free so that we can make sure that everyone is voting legitimately and guarantee that all Americans have the right to have a... Oh,
I don't
no.
think we should give citizenship to people who don't come to our country legally.
So he's against DACA, which again puts him at odds with 60% of Republicans. Because they were brought here by their parents. They didn't come here. They were just dragged along because they were minor children.
Americans are dreamers too.
Jesus Christ, that's a hit. Like, not even pussyfooting with it. Just straight up, I mean the dreamers. Not the 11 million extra people that we might think about giving amnesty or a pathway to citizenship. Not even that. Just the hell with the dreamers. Children, remember this is a pro-life crowd. Children who came here as children, never learned their home language in a lot of cases, don't know anything about the country they were brought from because they were children when they came, have been living as Americans, many of them serving in the military, many of them going to school, like absolutely contributing to this country. I mean, he's welcome to have his whole argument about migrant workers and whether or not illegal people working in farming or in like construction, for example. That's a Republican argument that's been around for a long time. But the DACA part, like, that ship has sailed a long time ago. By the way, Glenn, I know what you're saying with the he's lucky to have been born here. I don't buy the whole luck of genetics part of it, because your parents make choices about where they're going to have a kid. And whether their parents did it or the ones before, you know, this country being a country of immigrants largely, people made the choice to come here and raise their kids here because it was a better thing. So it wasn't magic that these kids were created here. It was effort by their parents. So the luck of the draw of it. Now, when it comes to like wealth gathering, oftentimes, if you look at Trump, for example, whereas his dad, you could argue, as awful as he was somebody who did a lot of work and built an empire. His second generation rich kid son was, you know, borrowing cash to run it in the 90s and is completely underwater now. So the luck of his birth, being born to rich parents, didn't save him from. It didn't genetically provide him with some sort of magic skill that would keep that wealth afloat.
But the Biden immigration plan is no dream. It's more of a nightmare.
It's always good when you take dream and turn it and make it a nightmare equivalency. Those are fun.
And there's this political coalition on immigration that team up to screw over the American people. So on
Do you mean Democrats and Republicans? You mean the majority of voters?
the left, it's all about political power. That's the whole.
That's what they're selling, is that the Democrats somehow believe that the only way we will have enough voters, even though we won by 7 million votes this time around, the only way we'll have enough to beat them, even though Biden got more votes than any president in history, is if we let in a bunch of illegals who in 11 years are going to vote for us. That's what that argument
The
is.
reason they are for limitless legal, illegal immigration, whatever they got to do to get people across the border. There are folks who were remaining in Mexico for their asylum claims to be resolved. Keep in mind, less than 1% of these people actually have valid asylum claims, but they were staying.
Well, then work them out. That's why you need lawyers down there to sift through everybody and do interviews, and then you send them home if they're not valid.
In Mexico, and
And it's not 1%. That's ridiculous.
now Biden is getting them in Mexico and distributing them in the United States.
Yeah, but they're not citizens. They can't vote, and they're in the asylum process. They have a court date. They're not living in Juarez surrounded by cartels, being raped, killed, and used as drug mules. It's a national security choice.
As if they're going to show up for some asylum hearing.
They will, or they can't become citizens, ever. If you skip out on your asylum hearing and you don't show up and you're caught, which you will be, they'll send you home. Because there are so many people who have shown up for their asylum hearing that there are too many of them wanting to become citizens for the quota that we have.
Do not let the Republican Party regress on this issue. Donald Trump showed clearly that we are not the party of amnesty.
You're not the party of any solution. You were the wall party. I thought Mexico was paying for this again.
And so why do Democrats need this?
Win? Oh.
It's a political refill. When you look at the major cities controlled by Democrats,
Yeah, you mean the ones that make all the money in the country and have all the industry and are the most successful as far as reading and math scores, where the schools do really well, the ones that have all of our biggest institutions, our big trade organizations, our largest unions, are the most people in them. Yeah.
San Francisco, LA, Chicago,
Yeah, where all the money is made that pays for almost their entire state.
New York, Detroit, they're in ruin. And so what?
Look, don't tag San Francisco and Chicago and New York with Detroit, a city that was a one industry town that got gutted.
What they have to do is they have to have a political
Thank you, Erica.
refill of a new population because they have failed the voters who have trusted them the most, oftentimes for generations. Now, I guess you need new blood when the old blood is toxified with pollutants, spilling in the streets in violence.
Yikes.
pulsing with addiction. And on the
And pulsing with addiction? Wait a minute, dude. You're not supposed to steal Biden's dark winter speeches.
right, we've got establishment Republicans who are just all too willing to be shills for big corporations.
Uh-huh. Which ones?
And we got too many big corporations that are just fine with illegal immigration. They sort of diminish their risk by using employee leasing companies, and that is a basis to keep
You mean farmers? Are you attacking farmers now?
wages down for the American people. Or
That's why card check. That's why legal immigration. That's why that's what Hillary was talking about with the open borders policy. Not because it was like a swinging door. It went both ways. So people would come over, work, and then go home. Not come over here and go, if you ever try to leave, you're not going to get back in. So instead of being an established migrant worker and having a policy for that visa and that green card work, so that people could, live here while during the seasons of farming and the like, and then go home again, which was an actual process which requires comprehensive immigration reform to make work functionally. You guys just let's keep it on the table so our rich friends could just subvert any decent wages.
legal immigrants who have come here according to our process. It's about money and it's about power, and
But enough about America first in the villages
we
in
have
Florida.
to stand against it.
By the way, everybody in the villages where he's talking about all have 401ks that invest in the companies he's talking about, and many of them come from the industries that do exactly what he's talking about. Like they got rich and could afford to live in the villages in their retirement because they were part of the structure he's talking about.
But if we want
I mean, Mar-a-Lago, for Christ's sake. Trump hired undocumented, illegal workers to work at his properties.
our politics and our policies to get better, if we want our trade deals to get better, if we want our money to be sounder, if we want our borders to have integrity, then our elections must have integrity.
Great. Then pass a giant bill that provides every American citizen with a photo ID that doesn't cost anyone anything and that is provided by the federal government and is good in any state and allows you to vote based on for president on no matter where you are. If you're visiting someplace and you're in another state and it's tracked by the number that's on there, so that the minute you vote, it goes up on a list. Bink, yep, they voted. Dunk, there it is. So if anybody steals your card, tries to vote with it in another state, or you drive across the border, vote, and then try to vote again, you get arrested immediately.
And the Democrats
Don't want you to set up a poll tax?
and all their buddies on these big corporate boards, they're telling us that
All their buddies on these big corporate boards. I wish.
getting an ID
Oh, I will.
requirement
Don't
to
worry, Pete.
vote
Yeah.
is racist. Now keep in mind, the very
That you say racist like it's a bad thing.
people who are telling you that getting an ID
Yes, Cuttison, I was talking about the mark of the beast. Thank you. Yes, it will come in in a card form with a digital metal stripe on the back that you can leave at home. Because that's the thing about the mark of the beast. You can forget it in your other pants.
to vote would be racist, want to require vaccine passports.
They don't want to require vaccine passports. Some companies, specifically cruise ship companies in your own state, are more concerned about COVID than, say, other companies where people can come and go. When people are trapped on a cruise ship, obviously we understood that was a petri dish, and so they're talking about having them. And so the federal government can supply you with one if you need or want one. That will help in those circumstances, rather than just have people selling them on the open market that could be fake.
So if an ID, well, I'll put it this way. If requiring vaccine passports isn't racist, then requiring an ID to vote isn't racist. And I think
Well, they're not going to... The vaccine passport, A, doesn't have your medical history on it or your picture, and it's going to be digital. It'll be on your phone. It'll have a QR code. You're not carrying it around like a second driver's license.
colleague Burgess Owens said it best. Burgess Owens is a black
Mark of the beast, because in hell they don't take American Express.
Republican, serves from Utah, was in the NFL, tackled OJ. And Burgess says,
A lot of good that did.
requiring an ID to vote isn't racist. Assuming that black people can't get an ID is what is racist.
No, charging people for it. It costs money to get a driver's license because you do not have a constitutional right to drive. Understand? No one in this country has a sovereign citizens, I'm talking to you. No one has a constitutional right to drive a car. You have to attain a license through a showing of skill and understanding of traffic laws. If you fail your driver's license, your driver's test, you don't get a driver's license. If you have to pass a driver's test or take a driver's test to get an ID, and some states, like you can get a state ID, but it's still through the same process and costs like $19 or $25, whatever that is. That's charging. That's a secondary aspect of the driver's license thing through the DMV. That process costs money. That's a poll tax. You cannot, because if you can charge $15, why can't you charge $100? What's to stop a state from going, if you want a driver's license, those are free. Those are $12, but you have to pass a driver's test. And we're only going to do it in English. And so if you're a new citizen and your English isn't that great, you could fail just based on the questioning. And you won't be able to vote. We can guarantee that. Or if you want a state ID, you can have one that's not a driver's license, but it's going to cost you $150. If you can charge, you can charge. And if you need one of those things to vote, which is an intrinsic right in the Constitution, then having someone have to show a driver's license or a photo ID, both of which cost money to obtain, is a poll tax. It's illegal. And again, this just brings me back to, then offer a bill that provides every American citizen with a passport card. How hard is that? The problem isn't that people can't get an ID or people that shouldn't have an ID. It's that you can't be charged money to vote. And that's a violation of the Constitution. Congress has the ability to give everybody in this country an ID, but they won't. Is it because Democrats don't want to? No. It's because Republicans refuse to for religious reasons.
And so we support the brave patriots in Georgia and in Florida and all across this country that want to...
The ones who voted for Biden and won and put, and gave the Senate to the Democrats? Those patriots?
Protect the integrity of the vote, and that is going to be a major part of this tour that Marjorie and I bring across the country, demanding
Oh, so it's a Q tour.
voter integrity.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, arrest Ann Coulter. Arrest Donald Trump. Arrest Mike Pence for voter fraud then. Because by your standard, he lived in Washington, D.C., in the building behind the White House. That's where the vice president lives. And he did not live in the governor's mansion. He was no longer the governor of Indiana. He may have thought of himself as a citizen of Indiana. He may have even had an Indiana driver's license with that address on it. But he sure as shit didn't live there. But Mike Pence used the governor's mansion, which he is not the governor. That's a state-owned building. Mike Pence used his address at the governor's mansion to vote in the districts surrounding it in Indiana. Beyond the presidential race, which is a national race that every citizen gets to vote for no matter where they live, he voted for his House representative. He voted for local races down ticket, I'm guessing. All of that based on a fraudulent address. Mike Pence, the Vice President of the United States, committed baseline voter fraud. Where's the outrage?
I do not diminish the challenge that is ahead.
No, you contribute to it.
Democrats control some very powerful institutions.
And you control none.
They control the presidency, the House, the Senate.
Yeah. Just for the record, just tell Marjorie Taylor Greene that Biden's president.
And they're using that power to try to demoralize.
Maria says in here, I've been waiting for 3 months to get a driver's license for Florida. First, you need to pass a 4-hour drug and alcohol test. You have to pay for each test and then wait 3 months to get the written test and then wait to get the actual driver's test. Everything is hard down here and about the money. Yeah, especially in the most Republican-run states because they make it about the fees. So like Nevada charges way more for a driver's license than California does, for example.
And at times even...
I'm twitching? I'm on Twitch. I'm supposed to, Lolima. Isn't that what you do? I'm going to tell you something, Joe Rogan. I smoke rock.
Target their political enemies. But in America, patriotism always shines through when we demonstrate toughness and
No, it doesn't. You can have a mental block to your own lies. And that's not patriotic. Just because you huff your own farts does not mean that you're a patriot.
grit.
You have to huff Trump's farts to be a patriot.
In 1772, Sam
New York car registration over $55 every 2 years. Yeah.
Adams sent James Warren around the communities of Plymouth. And the goal was to try to excite the notion of independence in people and to get them
And it didn't work.
engaged and thoughtful and
Didn't he get killed?
proactive regarding the notion of a new great American nation. The patriotic spirit was always coming and going, and there were times it was more going than coming.
Dude.
And Warren reported back to Adams, all are dead, and we cannot raise the dead without a miracle. Speaking
No offense, the villages.
of the patriots and those that we needed to maintain a revolution. And Adams replied, never despair. Let that be the motto of you and me.
Never despair. Just, dude, jail's a bummer.
All are not dead. And where there is but a spark of patriotism,
I feel seen.
we will rekindle it.
I am the sparks of patriotism.
My friends,
I'm a real patriot. I actually love this country and its promise. Instead of these fucking posers.
that spark is a raging inferno
You bet your ass it is. Motang.
here in Florida and across the great
Well, it was last week when I was doing Malvolio. It was fantastic. I was great.
MAGA nation.
This isn't MAGA Nation. This is America. This is the United States of America. Why? What?
This is not a movement for the timid or the tired.
No, it's a bowel movement.
This is a movement about winning. Winning so much that we get tired of it.
Yeah, so far, so good.
After all, isn't that what we were promised? God
Yeah, it worked out really well.
bless you. Thank you. Thanks for having my back. Thanks for fighting with us. Let's go get them.
So no God Bless America then? Jesus.